What damage do you think smoking does?
Well, cancer, I suppose. Lungs.
Lung cancer, bronchitis, it affects it more.
Yeah, I suppose you can get cancer, lung cancer.
I do believe there's an association between lung cancer and smoking.
Obviously on this ward we have quite a lot of cardiac patients, and I would judge on a very general basis that perhaps half of the cardiac patients we have in are smokers or have been in the past fairly heavy smokers. Obviously it affects their chest as well. We have a lot of chronic chests within our community, and a fair number of those are smokers. People breathe in oxygen and it's all filtered through into the lungs, into the bloodstream, but when you smoke you take in all the chemicals and the nicotine in smoking, and that damages the very fine lining that the lungs have. Therefore they're not able to filter sufficiently, and the lungs are damaged usually on a permanent basis, unless it's a fairly short-term period that people smoke for. Now, once this damage is done, it can actually turn into a malignancy, which is in effect a cancer, which can be fairly difficult to treat.
What advice would you give to people who do smoke?
Stop. I think it's quite simple. I don't think there's any half measures. I don't think you can tell people to perhaps smoke for the odd cigarette or just for short periods. Just stop, because it's so debilitating and the tragedies we see here are really not worth it.
I'd like to introduce you now to Mr. Hortop, who's been in hospital for a few days, and I think you'll find what he has to say will be quite interesting. Can I ask you what problem was that brought you into hospital?
Yeah, I had a heart attack. Brought on through smoking. Okay. And well, I'm better now. I should go home on Saturday.
So you've been very lucky, haven't you?
Oh, I say I have, yeah. Much luckier than some people. I mean, there's a case over there who's been a smoker. I heard him say this morning, and he's in a pretty bad state, but he's better now than what he was last night when he came in. Well, it's a terrible thing, smoking. I wish I hadn't started it, to be honest. I wouldn't be in this state as I am now.
Could you describe the symptoms that you have now?
What was happening to me?
Yes.
It's like a phlegm, and then start coughing, and you get, every time you cough you get pain across down there, across and down there. That's all I used to get. But other people who've had heart attacks have had a strong one here, and I haven't. I only had it in in my arms and across the top of my chest, and not under here either, because doctor asked me that when I came in. He said, and then they took blood tests and they said that I had a heart attack, only a slight one, but still, it's a warning, so it stopped me smoking anyway.
What was it that made you decide to give up? Because it's not easy.
I think really because it's seen as very antisocial now. I felt very awkward smoking in people's company. And it got to the point where I felt like I was going out my way to smoke. And there is the health reasons as well. I mean, I'm a nurse. I should set an example as well. And plus, I know I've done a lot of research into smoking, so I know all the different.
What are the dangers of smoking?
There's a lot of indications to it causing heart disease, which is quite frightening. Peripheral vascular disease, which is quite frightening. You've only got to see somebody without any legs to put you off.
I wonder if you could tell me about when you started smoking.
30 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And how many were you smoking a day?
20 a day then.
Mm-hmm. And what was it that made you decide to smoke?
Well, I was going through a bout of depression, and a friend of mine said, have a cigarette, that makes you feel better.
And once you started smoking, just kept going?
Yes, I couldn't stop.
Did you ever try?
No, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't try.
Mm-hmm. You had some trouble with your health. I wonder if you could tell me about it.
Well, 2 years ago, I had my legs went numbed, and I got to the top of the road. I went out shopping. I couldn't get back, so this lady took me in at the top of the road, and she phoned my son, and he took me over his house. And I found that I couldn't walk up the stairs, and I couldn't. It was so terrible. The pain was terrible. And I went to the hospital, and they kept me in there and then. They tried to clear the clots, which was unsuccessful. I tried for 2 weeks, and then they said the legs have to come off because gangrene set in. Because it really upset me, very emotional about it, of course. And when I got home, I got more emotional because I couldn't do the jobs I used to do around the house, which I can't cope. My husband, I can't cope now. My husband does all the coping.
What advice would you give to people who do smoke?
Pack it up.
What would you say to people who
Pack
are
it up.
smoking?
Pack it up.
What advice would you give to people who do smoke?
Stop.
Don't do it. Take a look at me. You see what happens to me.